Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are going to assemble a new machine with Ryzen 3500. So as you can see the components, what are the components here? I always tell you what components we are going to use and how I assemble. But I don't go in that much detail while assembling. So in this video, I'll be telling you the in-depth detail how I assemble any rig, how I do the cable management and how I assemble all the components. So all the details will be given in this video, and this video would be quite long. So if you wish to learn in depth how I assemble a PC, then please do watch this video up till end so that you can know each and every technique how to assemble your PC neat and clean. So let's get started and assemble this component in this chassis. So first and foremost, we are going to prepare the motherboard. Open up our motherboard. Now we'll be opening our CPU. We'll install the CPU. So this is Ryzen 5 3500, which is a 6-core 6-thread processor, and 4.1 is the maximum boost and 3.6 is the base frequency of this processor. So this is the processor. You get some deflect. We'll keep this aside and we'll open the processor first. This is the processor. You have to align this triangle which is given here, which is gold in color as you can see, to this triangle over here. You can see it. So first we will lift the clip and then slowly insert it in the socket. This is the most trickiest part while assembling a PC. So make sure that you align the processor properly and install it very carefully. Do not damage your processor because it is very fragile. If you put any excess pressure on this processor and if the pins are not aligned properly, then you may damage your processor and even it will void your warranty. So please be careful. So now we have inserted our processor nicely, you can see, and now we have to close it. That's done. We have installed the processor. The next thing is we have to install the fan. So we are installing the fan which is coming along with this. We are not installing any other all-in-one cooler or aftermarket cooler. So this is the stock fan, and if you are not overclocking it, this stock fan is sufficient for 3500 processor. But if you are going with other processor like 3600 or 3700, I recommend buying an aftermarket water cooler, which is an AIO water cooler or an air cooler, whichever fits your budget, because that will keep your processor cool and which will make your processor perform even better, because AMD processors work on thermal throttling. If the temperatures are high, the processor are not going to throttle to their maximum speed. So this is the fan which comes with an AMD processor 3500 and even 3600. You can see the new fan. There is an heatsink compound is pre-installed on the heatsink. To assemble this fan, we need to remove this, and if we go with 3700 or 3800, 3700 and above processor, you don't need to remove this because the fans have the clip which can be attached directly to this, but these are having a screw pattern, so we'll need to remove this brackets. For that I need a screwdriver. I'll be removing it. This way, just remove and keep it aside. Keep it in your motherboard box or keep it safely wherever you can, because in case if you're using any aftermarket water cooler or air cooler, so in future you may need this if you want to replace the stock fan. So now I can align this in this way also and in this way also. What happens is, what I have noticed, if I am aligning it in this way, you are not able to install a RAM over here. It may give you a problem for the RAMs which comes with a heatsink. So that is the reason I will align it in this way. Properly align it with the screws, and I think it is properly aligned. So now you have to screw them and make sure you screw them in a diagonal fashion. So I'll start with here, and do not screw it fully, just few threads. Make sure you don't screw them completely, thread them 3 or 4 times and move along the diagonal circle, as you can see me doing it over here, because what happens is it applies an equal pressure from all the sides. Make sure you don't over tight the screws, that may damage your motherboard. So now it properly screwed. Now I will just install this in a CPU fan. So you can see the pin over here which says CPU fan, and this is a 4-pin connector, and even this is a 4-pin connector. If you are buying an aftermarket air cooler or water cooler, it may have a 3-pin connector, so the same connector is connected to this 4-pin connector. So don't worry about that. Even if it has a 4-pin or a 3-pin, this is actually a PWM fan, so they are having extra sensor, so that is the reason they have the 4-pin. So I'll be putting this here. That is done. You can manage this cable.
That's right.
The cable is properly done, so CPU is installed, our air cooler is installed. Now comes the RAM. Having the 2 sticks of RAM, this is an 8 into 2 GB version, total is 16 GB. This is an thermaltake RAM with 3200 MHz, and make sure the default frequency is just 2400. So you need to go to the BIOS and change the frequency or change the XMP profile, and it will automatically set the frequency of your RAM. For in this case we have 3200, so it will be set to 3200 in an XMP profile. So these are the 2 sticks. So it's now time to install the RAM, and before installing the RAM, please refer to your motherboard booklet or go online and check to the proper motherboard manufacturer's website in which slots the RAMs to be installed, because some motherboards the RAM slot sequence is different. So if you are having 2 sticks, that may cause a problem, or even a single stick if you insert the RAM in an improper slot. So some motherboards support it, some motherboards don't support it. So it's better to check in the motherboard's manual in which slots to install. Now here with it we have A1, A2, B1, B2. So we'll be installing it in A2 and B2. So let's get started. This is our A2, the second one from the processor side. Align it properly. This is the notch. Actually you can see you have to align this notch with this notch, and now we'll from this side, from one side and from another side. We have installed one RAM, and second one will be installing in B2. So just put this clip aside. In the same way I am aligning it, and from here you can hear the sound tick. And now from here, so once the RAM is properly secured, this clip automatically goes up and it secures your RAM. So nicely 2 RAMs are installed. If you are using an NVMe or M.2 SSDs, you have to install it over here. So it's right time to install now, because if we are going to do it afterwards, and if we are installing the GPU, then it will be very difficult. We'll need to remove the GPU, then install this M.2. So it's better to install it previously. So now first we'll install an M.2 SSD over here, and then we'll proceed. It's time for our M.2 SSD. This is a 240 GB SSD from WD, and to install this we'll be needing a tiny screw which comes with your motherboard. This is an M.2 screw as it is written, so it comes with your motherboard. So I'll just show you. This is the screw, and very important, you keep it aside. You have to push this SSD in this way. This is the notch and this is the notch, so you have to install it. I'll even show you whether we can install it in an opposite direction. The notch doesn't match, so that is the reason. You have to install it in this way. So don't worry about which orientation your SSD should be, because it is a foolproof mechanism. You can't insert it in an opposite direction and burn out your SSD. So don't worry about it. So just check the notch and this notch, and we'll insert it, and you can hear the noise tick. Now we'll need this tiny screw, and here if you have a magnetic screw it will be the best. So just screw it to secure your M.2 SSD. That's it, and it's done. I think it's very easy as of now. We have installed the processor, we have installed the fan, connected it to the CPU fan header, installed the RAM as per motherboard instructions, and installed the SSD. That's it. Our motherboard is ready and prepared for going into the chassis. So quickly I'll tell you few things about the motherboard. Here it is an 8-pin connector given for a CPU power. So you will need a SMPS which has an 8-pin. Even if it has 4 pins, you can connect it, not an issue. Here it's an 24 pin power supply cable which comes from your power supply, will go here. These are the SATA ports. Here in this motherboard they have given 1, 2, 3, 4 SATA ports. So SATA cable can be installed here. You can install an hard drive with SATA cable, and this is an PCI Express slot for your GPU. This is the 1x PCI Express. So if you're installing a Wi-Fi card or a sound card, you will need them. Few more things. Here is a front panel connectors. All the things are given here. As you can see, which pin is for your power, which pin is for your reset. I'll definitely show you when I'll connect it. And these are the USB headers for your USB, and there is one more USB 3-point header. Where it is, it must be, yeah. So this is an USB 3.0 header for your front panel IO, and few things they have given. This is an RGB header if you're connecting an RGB LED strip, or if you want to control the fans of your cabinet through the MSI Mystic lighting software, you need to connect an RGB header over here. This is a system fan given if you want to connect an additional fan which can be controlled through your motherboard software, so you can connect it here. This is in front audio panel jumper. So quickly we have seen about the motherboard. We have prepared our motherboard and it's ready. And one more thing I can tell you, this LEDs you can see, it's written boot, VGA, DRAM and CPU. These are the easy debug LED. I have even done a video on this, so if you would like to see the video, you can check the video of easy debug LED. This is a great features given by MSI, and it is available throughout all the range of the motherboard from entry level to high end, so not an issue. Any motherboard you buy, it makes troubleshooting a lot easy. These LEDs will tell you the status that which component is having problem, so it makes it easy to debug if you have any problem with your PC. So now quickly assemble this in our chassis. So before that, we'll need to make our chassis ready by installing the PSU in it. So in the next step, I'll be showing you the installation of your PSU in cabinet, and the tedious work starts there, and that is the cable management. You have to do the cable management very properly to make your CPU look very neat and clean, very tidy, and that also affects the airflow. The more tidier the system is, the better the airflow will be and better the thermal temperatures will be. So we'll try to do it as quick as possible. I'll first remove both the side panels of this cabinet. This is V200 from thermaltake. First we'll need to install the motherboard back plate which is given with your motherboard. So this is the back plate. We need to install it. You have to push it. The cutout is given. You have to just push it. I have installed the back plate. Now I'll be installing the SMPS and then the motherboard, or else I can even install the motherboard first and then the SMPS. There is no issue at all in this cabinet because the gap here given is pretty much good, so that the cables come from there. Otherwise, in some cabinet, problem is that once you install the motherboard, there is no space left for SMPS wires to come in. So that is the reason I prefer installing SMPS before and then the motherboard. So here I am having CX450 from Corsair. This is an SMPS, and with this SMPS you get some cable ties for cable management and screw to install this. Keep it aside. Every time you assemble the PC, you will get this. These are the cable ties, which are wired one, but these are very useful for temporarily tying up the cables till the time we finalize the entire cable management. So I'll keep this aside. I'll be using it. I'll cut this according to the need and I'll be using it. Here we have screw packet which comes with your cabinet. It also has some zip ties and screws, so I'll keep this aside. SMPS compartment, all the cables are here. I'll keep them aside. Slide this SMPS in this way. This is how the SMPS got this board used. Just align it. Here also you can apply the diagonal rule. All the holes are properly aligned. Now what I am going to do is the two important cables which we are going to need. One is this 24 pin cable for our motherboard, and Second is your CPU cable. This is your CPU cable. The CPU is written over here. So this is very important cable. We have to first route it in the front, because in this case it is not a problem, but in few cases you may find a problem that after installing the motherboard you will not able to put this front. So that is the reason first and foremost we'll use this cable. And so I'll keep this cable aside. There are lots of cables here in this way and routing it. So here comes the use of this zip tie. Cut it out a little bit and tie this cable, because otherwise we'll not able to do our cable management properly. So actually we have this cable because this is the controller given in this cabinet to control all the LEDs, your fan, and this is route from where cable will go. And they have given nice this is very nice for our cable. First time I am seeing this in any cabinet. This is very good, just to route your cables in a proper way. So this is how we have routed the cable for our SMPS for our motherboard CPU. And now this is the another cable, which is 24 pin supply cable. So I think from here or here we'll be using it. For now I am using it here. Here also I'll use one zip tie for temporary management. The reason I'm using this for temporary is because lots of cable will come from here, and at the end we'll finalize our cable management. Then I'll be using the zip ties given with this. These are the things. Rest of the cables I'll just keep it here as of now. So these are the two cables. So now we'll be installing the motherboard. So now it's very easy for us because we have already prepared the motherboard with CPU, RAM, SSD, everything. Now we'll just put it and install it. One thing you have to notice is the standoffs are given here. These are pre-installed for most of the cabinets. The pre-installed standoffs will be for your ATX motherboard, but now we are not using an ATX, it is a micro ATX motherboard. So we'll need to remove this standoff and install it here. So here they have given a chart. One is for ITX, 1 plus 2 is for micro ATX, 1 plus 2 plus 3 is for ATX. So this is 2 number is written over here, 2 number is written over here, and these are the 3. So these are for ATX motherboard. We'll remove this and install it. So let's see if we have the tool given with this to remove it. If you have additional, there is no need to remove this. Keep them as it is, and we'll install the additional one which they have given with this. So these tools, 3 standoffs are given. There is one special standoff installation tool which comes, but it's not given with this. So I am just installing this. Now it's time for motherboard. So here comes the motherboard. Plenty of space is given in this cabinet, so there is no problem. We'll need one more standoff, and thank God company has given us. Be using it here. This is the one. You align the standoffs properly by placing the motherboard. Otherwise, if in case standoff is somewhere in between and it's not in the screw, then it may short circuit your board. Now find the appropriate screw for this standoff. I think this is the screw. We'll be needing it. Get the appropriate screws. All the screws are included with your cabinet, so these are the screws we'll be needing. And now I'll just one by one. So I'll first put the screw here. Now again, don't tighten the screw completely, because you need to align all the screws, and make sure you don't touch your screwdriver anywhere in between. Now all our screws are aligned properly. Now I'll tighten them fully. So, and don't over tight it again. Karuna. So this is 1, this is 2. Now the motherboard is properly installed. Now we'll just plug this. You can see I'm plugging this 8 pin supply. So 8 pin supply is there now. This is for CPU. If you have a 4 pin, just remove it. That 8 pin can be converted into 4 pin and you can install it 4 pin. Some motherboard have 8 pin plus 4 pin combination. For that you need an higher end power supply. You get 2 CPU connectors with that are 2 8 pins. And now the time for 24 pin power supply cable. Here it goes in this way. You have to align this clip with this knot. The same applies for all the cables coming out of your PSU. So just align them and push the cable make sure it is properly secured, and that's it. That's what we need to do. These are the 2 power supply cables. One and both goes to the motherboard. This is your CPU supply and this is your motherboard main supply, and we have done with it. If you have to install hard drives, you will install one SATA cable which is given with your motherboard. I am just installing it to show you in case in future we are going to install an hard drive. It will be very handy. We don't need to open up the entire case to install it. So I'll just install it right now. So this is the SATA cable. You can see this is SATA 1. So I'll just put it in SATA 1. Again you can see it is an L-shaped cable and this is also L-shaped. So align this with this and just push it. You get a click which ensures that the cable is perfectly installed. And now I'll put this back. Now the most tedious part comes, and that is the cable management. We can even install our graphic card right now, or we can even do it after doing our cable management. So I prefer do it after. So now doing with the tedious job, that is the cable management. Now you know how the cable is, and again our tool which allows us to make the cable management in ease. And so here we need to apply the one, and these are temporary. Once we finalize it, we will remove them. That is the first one we need. Here there is a space over here, so excess cable I can just tag them down. Here is the second one I'll be needing. So hard drive cage is given over here. You can see the SATA hard drives. There are 2 cages given with this cabinet. So I'll just put it here, because in case when we are we'll be installing a hard drive, installing it here, so we will be needing this cable over here. So I'll just tag it here, and now I have these cables, lots of cables. I need to manage them. First let's manage these cables. USB cable, this is HD audio, and this is front panel. So we'll quickly put them. Our HD, I'll remove this. Our HD audio cable generally goes from here. Space is not there now, not an issue. I'll put them here. This is the cutout given over here for the cables. So I'll do that. Even our USB 3 cable. So quickly I'll first install this cable, so that excess cable we can. Here we have got cables, and this is a USB 3. I'm installing it in USB 3. This is USB, no sorry, it's HD audio. This is USB 3 cable. So USB 3 cable, this is USB. Now there is one blank over here and also here. So just align from blank to blank and install it. Now we know these are the access cables. This is an HD audio cable. So we'll just put it behind this, and HD audio pin is there. Again there is one blank over here, so just check it and align it properly and install. Every time you install any cable, make sure you align them properly. There is a little bit space behind the motherboard, so I'll try to do this cable. Now it's time for the front panel. So generally these are the things. One is power switch, one is your reset switch, power LED and hard drive LED. So plus sign symbols for your positive and minus is for negative. For power and reset, plus and minus don't make any difference. You can install it in any way. So this is JFP1. You can see here for JFP1 they have given how to install. Now first one is your power LED, second is your hard drive, and from here from top it is power switch and reset. First I will install power switch and reset switch. Power switch is at the top, so I'll install power switch here, and below that it's a reset switch. So power switch and reset switch goes in. Then now here we have to make sure that the positives are proper. So they have given that the outer pin, the outermost pin is positive, and beside that is a negative. So first we'll connect power. So power negative, power positive. So check it. It is printed over here on the motherboard PCB. If not, you can even get it in motherboard manual. So just check it out and then install accordingly. Plus and minus. So plus in this way. So now we have done with this. What I generally do is I just tie them together. In this way I've tied them up, and this also ensures that your USB cable don't go anywhere, because USB 3 cable tends to get removed because that is little bit rigid. That's the reason. So now again we're back for cable management. So now we have got the excess cable over here. Now we can route them nicely, put the excess cable wherever we want. So now you'll get to know why I am using this temporary tags. We will need to remove it several times. That is the reason. I think these two cables are proper from here. This is an RGB cable given with this. You want to control it with your motherboard sync software. So we do have header 12 volt RGB header, and make sure you don't connect a 12 volt RGB header on a 5 volt header, or if you have an ARGB fans with your cabinet, don't connect the ARGB to 12 volt header, otherwise that will blow up your fans. Just first install it. Some graphic card have 6 pins, some have 8 pin. Here they have given option for 8 plus 6 pin, but we can install it in single 8 pin connector. And yes, we are done with the cable management of our system. Properly nice, neat and clean. And the most important part is from here, from front side, we will not able to see the wire mesh entirely. It is properly neat and clean. there is no wire here and there. So in this way you can properly install and do the cable management. So this was in detailed, I have shown you how to do the entire cable management.
So friend, that was our detailed video about how I install my all the rigs. If you have liked this video, please give us a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe our channel. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. If you would like to buy any of these components, the links are given in the description box. If you love to share the knowledge, please share this video with your friends who loves PC building and subscribe our channel to get more knowledge and more videos. I'll be back with the next video. Until then, goodbye.